Hey, Book Peer fans, and welcome back. It's Paul here, and as always, I'm joined by Alice.
Hi, everyone.
Today, we're going to talk about something I think we all struggle with, keeping our homes clean and organized. And if you're like me, you've probably felt that pang of guilt when your house is a mess.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much pressure these days to have a picture-perfect home.
Yeah.
You know, the kind you see all over social media. But the book we're talking about today offers a completely different perspective.
It really does. It dives into the idea that cleaning and organizing shouldn't be tied to our self-worth.
Right. The author, a licensed therapist, actually argues that a messy house doesn't make you a bad person. Instead of getting caught up in those societal expectations, the book encourages us to think about cleaning in a more practical way.
It's not about being perfect. It's about creating a home that functions well for you and your family.
What's fascinating is how the book breaks down the whole process of tidying up. It introduces this really simple method called the 5 things method. It's all about breaking down clutter into 5 manageable categories: trash, dishes, laundry, things that have a place and things that don't.
I actually tried this method in my own home, and it's surprisingly effective, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Just focusing on those 5 categories helped me make real progress.
It's a game changer, especially for people who struggle with executive dysfunction or find it difficult to get motivated with cleaning.
And speaking of motivation, the book really emphasizes functionality over aesthetics. Like, instead of stressing about making everything look perfect, you ask yourself, what do I need to be able to do in this room?
Yes, it's all about prioritizing what actually matters. So maybe having a clear path to walk through is more important than having a perfectly styled bookshelf.
All right, if I can actually walk through my living room without tripping over something, that's a win for me. It doesn't have to look like a showroom to be functional. If you're enjoying this conversation, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Book Peer.
Yes, please do. And we'd love to hear about your biggest cleaning challenges in the comments.
Now let's talk about decluttering. It can be such an emotionally charged process, right?
Oh, absolutely. The book actually refers to it as compassionate decluttering. It acknowledges that we often attach memories, guilt, or even shame to the things we own.
That resonates with me. I've definitely held on to things out of guilt, even if I haven't used them in years.
It's a common experience, and this book offers some really practical ways to approach decluttering with more kindness towards yourself. One of the things it suggests is the 20-20 rule. If you can replace an item for under $20 in under 20 minutes, then it's probably okay to let it go.
That's such a simple but effective way to make a decision without getting too caught up in your emotions. What are some of the other tips from the book?
Well, there's also the one in, one out rule. So for every new item you bring into your home, you commit to getting rid of a similar item.
I love that it helps you stay mindful of what you're accumulating and prevents clutter from building up in the first place.
Exactly. And here's a question for you. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to clean when you have someone else with you?
Oh, 100%. I'm way more motivated when I have a friend helping me tackle a cleaning project. It's like having a built-in cheerleader and accountability partner.
It turns out there's a psychological reason for that. The book calls it body doubling. Having someone else present can actually help with motivation, focus, and accountability.
It makes sense, especially for those of us who struggle with things like anxiety or procrastination. Having that extra support can make a big difference.
It's all about creating a supportive environment for yourself, even when you're doing something as mundane as cleaning. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The book actually challenges the whole concept of what clean means.
Okay, so what does clean mean then?
Well, instead of thinking of clean as this rigid, objective standard, the book encourages us to define it for ourselves. Maybe it means prioritizing certain areas of your home or focusing on tasks that directly affect your health and well-being.
So it's about finding what truly works for you and letting go of those unrealistic expectations that we often see in magazines or on social media.
Exactly. It's about creating a home that supports your well-being without sacrificing your mental health in the process.
This is such a great conversation. If you're just joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments what clean means to you.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, let's talk about how to make this all work in real life. How do we actually create cleaning routines that are sustainable and don't leave us feeling overwhelmed?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
The book encourages a flexible approach, understanding that our needs and abilities change from day to day.
So we should stop beating ourselves up if we miss a day of cleaning or if our house doesn't look perfect all the time.
Absolutely. It's about finding what works for you and adjusting your routines as needed.
I think that's such a relief to hear, especially for anyone who struggles with perfectionism or feels like they're constantly falling short.
And the book emphasizes self-compassion throughout the process. It's about understanding that taking care of yourself includes taking care of your space in a way that feels sustainable and empowering.
I love that it's a reminder that our homes should be havens, not sources of stress. But what about those times when we're really struggling to get motivated?
It's important to recognize that motivation can be a challenge, especially when dealing with things like mental health issues or just plain old exhaustion.
So how do we get ourselves moving when we just don't feel like it?
Well, one of the key things the book emphasizes is self-compassion. It's okay to have days when you just can't do it all. Give yourself permission to rest and recharge. And when you are ready to tackle some cleaning, the book suggests starting small to choose a task that feels manageable. Maybe it's clearing off the kitchen counter or making your bed.
Those small wins can make such a big difference.
Absolutely. And remember, any progress is better than no progress.
It's so easy to get discouraged when you look at a long list of cleaning tasks, but checking even one thing off the list can give you a sense of accomplishment and motivate you to keep going.
And you know what? This book actually encourages you to celebrate those victories. It's all about recognizing our efforts, even the small ones.
That's such a great reminder, especially in a world where we're constantly bombarded with images of perfect homes on social media.
It's important to remember that perfection is an illusion. No one's home is perfectly clean and organized all the time.
That's definitely reassuring to hear.
Right. The book really emphasizes that our homes should be havens, not sources of stress.
It's about embracing the imperfections of real life, right?
It's exactly. It encourages you to define success on your own terms. Maybe success means having a clean kitchen sink every night, or maybe it means simply being able to walk through your living room without tripping over clutter.
I love that.
And it's about recognizing that even on our messiest days, we are still worthy of love, respect, and compassion.
That's a beautiful thought. Our homes are extensions of ourselves, and we should treat them and ourselves with kindness.
Absolutely. We've been having such a great conversation about finding a new perspective on cleaning and organizing one that's rooted in self-compassion and functionality. What are some final thoughts you want to share with our listeners today?
Well, I think one of the most important takeaways is that our homes are extensions of ourselves. The way we treat our spaces can often reflect how we're feeling internally.
You know, one thing that really resonated with me was how the book encourages us to find joy in the process of cleaning and organizing.
That's interesting. I think a lot of us struggle with that idea. It always feels like something we have to do, not something we want to do.
I totally get it, but what if we tried to reframe it a bit? What if instead of focusing on the drudgery of cleaning, we shifted our attention to the positive outcomes?
Like what? Give me an example.
Think about the feeling of walking into a tidy room, that sense of calm and order.
I see what you mean. There's definitely a sense of accomplishment after you've tackled a big cleaning project.
Exactly, and it doesn't have to be a huge undertaking. Even small acts of tidying, like washing the dishes or putting away laundry, can contribute to that feeling of peace and order.
So it's about appreciating those little wins and recognizing how they can actually make a difference in our daily lives.
Yes, the book suggests bringing more mindfulness to cleaning tasks.
Mindfulness and cleaning. How does that work?
Well, instead of just going through the motions, try to engage all of your senses. Notice the scent of the cleaning products, the feel of the water on your hands, the sound of the vacuum.
It's almost like turning cleaning into a meditation.
It kind of is. It's about being present in the moment and not letting your mind race.
That's a cool idea. I can see how shifting your focus like that could make cleaning feel less like a chore.
It can also help you appreciate the results more when you're really paying attention. You're more likely to notice the difference between a clean surface and a dirty one that can be incredibly satisfying.
And speaking of feeling satisfied, the book also talks about finding joy in the creative aspects of cleaning and organizing.
Absolutely. It encourages us to think of our homes as blank canvases.
So it's not just about making things clean, it's about making them reflect our personalities and make us feel good.
Exactly. It could be arranging your bookshelves in a way that makes you smile or adding some personal touches to your decor.
It's a great reminder that our homes should be spaces that we genuinely enjoy being in. They should be places we feel good about.
And the book encourages us to experiment, try different approaches and figure out what works best for you.
Right.
Some people like to tackle everything at once. Others prefer to spread it out over the week.
I'm definitely a spread it out kind of person. The thought of cleaning all weekend just makes me tired.
And that's perfectly fine. The key is to find a rhythm that feels sustainable. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying these insights.
Yes, we love sharing these book recommendations with you. We've talked a lot about shifting our mindset around cleaning. But what about those days when motivation's just gone?
The book acknowledges that motivation can be a real struggle, especially when you're dealing with things like mental health challenges, chronic illness, or just plain old exhaustion.
So what's the secret? How do we get ourselves moving when we just don't feel like it?
It all goes back to self-compassion. Recognize that it's okay to have days where you just can't do it all.
So no more beating ourselves up for a messy house.
Exactly. Give yourself permission to rest and recharge. And when you are ready to tackle some cleaning, start small, focus on a manageable task.
Like just clearing off one counter or making the bed.
Exactly. Even those small accomplishments can help you build some momentum and start to feel more in control.
And remember, any progress is better than no progress.
That's the key. It's easy to get discouraged when you're looking at a to-do list a mile long. Checking one thing off that list can be all you need to feel better and keep going.
And this book also reminds us to celebrate those small victories.
Yes, it's all about recognizing those small wins.
So we need to give ourselves some credit.
Exactly, and let's be real, perfection is an illusion. No one's home is perfectly clean all the time.
I think social media has really skewed our perception of what's normal when it comes to our homes. It can be really hard to live up to those standards.
And it's not healthy to even try. The book reminds us that our homes should be havens, not sources of stress.
Our homes should be a place to relax and be ourselves.
And define success on our own terms. Maybe success means having a clean kitchen sink every night, or just being able to walk through your living room without tripping.
It's about setting realistic goals.
And knowing that even on our messiest days, we're still worthy of love and respect.
That's such an important message.
We should treat our homes and ourselves with kindness. What are your final thoughts for our listeners today?
Well, I think this book offers a really refreshing and compassionate perspective on keeping our homes clean and organized. It's not about achieving some impossible standard of perfection. It's about creating a space that truly supports our well-being. You know, one of the most powerful things I took away from this book is the idea of finding joy in those small acts of cleaning and organizing.
It's a complete shift in perspective, isn't it?
It really is. It's like we've been conditioned to see cleaning as this dreadful chore.
And we've talked about how this book really encourages us to reframe that thinking.
It's not about striving for some unattainable standard of perfection.
It's about those small, everyday actions that create a more comfortable and functional living space.
And when you start to appreciate those small moments, like wiping down the counters, folding a pile of laundry, it can actually become quite satisfying.
It's like you're creating a sense of order and peace, not just in your physical space, but also in your mind.
I love that. I've definitely noticed that when my home is tidy, I just feel calmer and more focused.
And that feeling of calm can have a ripple effect on other areas of your life, too. It's pretty amazing.
This book is a real game changer for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by housework or like their self-worth is tied to a spotless home.
It's a reminder that our homes should be havens, not sources of stress.
If you're looking for more practical tips and a fresh perspective on cleaning and organizing, we highly recommend giving this book a read.
And remember, everyone, progress over perfection, be kind to yourselves, and happy cleaning.
That's a wrap on this episode of Book Peer. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our book discussions.
And be sure to leave a comment and tell us about your biggest cleaning challenges and what clean means to you. We love hearing from you.
See you next time for another great book.
Bye, everyone.